Welcome to the latest in the series of AHA Vic CEO updates. Today I'd like to quickly talk about those issues of our response to the state budget, some recent announcements by the government in respect of underage related penalties, and also the continuing work on the AHA Vic log of claims in preparation for the November 2012 state election. From the state budget point of view, there were limited announcements that directly impact on pubs. Of course, we'd had the early announcement regarding the increase from the 1st of May in regard to gaming taxes, and we're having an ongoing dialogue with the state government in terms of quid pro quos that might apply in respect of that increase. But as far as direct announcements in the state budget, whilst we acknowledge and appreciate the increase in funding in tourism, particularly in regional areas, we do believe more can be done in this space, because so much of the hospitality industry around Victoria is driven by both domestic and international tourists. I suppose the bottom line as far as the budget goes, very capital investment infrastructure focused budget, and certainly to the extent that that creates positive activity within the economy, that's always good for the hospitality industry. Infrastructure investments generally do bring a greater level of activity, which brings benefits. However, it's not about announcing such projects, it's about initiating them and getting the activity underway. And that's something that we're certainly encouraging the government to really start to get the rubber on the road as far as these sorts of announced investments go. There's always argy-bargy between the government and the opposition about the relative merits of these infrastructure proposals. But like all Victorians, and certainly as far as Victorian business goes, we want them to be effective investments and ones that truly do drive the economy. So we'll be watching with great interest the rollout of these projects into the coming period. An important issue has been the recent announcement by the government of the intention, and there's legislation already in the Parliament, to double the penalties in respect of those underage related offences in the Liquor Control Reform Act, particularly those offences of tolerating an underage person on the premises or serving alcohol to them other than as provided under the law. Current penalties, 60 penalty units, which equates to about $8,500. That's going to go to 120 penalty units, which is a sizable amount of money, $17,000 plus. Of course, when you turn that into the on-the-spot fine aspect, that's 10% of that full whack in the magistrates' court. So the penalty is going to be roughly about $1,750. So that's quite a severe penalty on a one-off basis. And of course, to that must be added the subsequent $3,000 plus penalty that comes through the additional payment through the risk-based licence fee in the subsequent year. So, as always, one must be very alert to the underage issues on licensed premises. The law is reasonably complex, and we'd certainly encourage all members to be fully acquainted with the requirements of the law. Certainly the Victorian Commission for Gambling and Liquor Regulation's got a very informative issues paper on this and a fact sheet, and certainly AHA's put out a number of bulletins from time to time. So if you've got any doubts with regard to these matters, certainly get in touch with the AHA. Important to bear in mind, of course, that whilst we are not happy with increases of this proportion in comparison to what's happening in our colleagues in New South Wales through the very micro and draconian interventions of the New South Wales government, and also bear in mind that the penalty for selling a cigarette to a person under 18 years of age is 600 penalty units. Probably we're not travelling too bad with regard to these announcements. In terms of those penalties for selling cigarettes to minors, once again, licensees should be very mindful of the extreme nature of that penalty, and we'll be putting a bulletin out to members just providing all the ins and outs of that issue. Of course, I've mentioned in previous updates that we're now well advanced in the development of our log of claims for this upcoming state election. Now, we've identified 27 key issues which are now being fully discussed at the council level, and full details of those will be provided to members through various editions of Hotel Today. We'll be highlighting key issues in the areas of liquor, gaming, and all areas that are relevant to the operation of licensed businesses which are subject to Victorian liquor law, and that goes right through to to how many public holidays there are in Victoria, etc. So, very comprehensive document. As I've indicated before, when we did this process in 2010, we had about 25 propositions. I think 22 of those have been implemented by the Napthine Brian government over the last 4 years. So it's a very productive exercise to allow us to prioritise our issues and then canvass them in the election period, but most importantly pursue them over the subsequent 4 years. So look for updates on where we are on that issue. First of all, the detail of those issues, and then how we're tracking with them, with both the Dennis Napthine Peter Ryan led government and the Daniel Andrews led opposition. So that's a short summary of issues that we're dealing with at the moment, and I encourage you to contact the AHA on any issues that you need further information on, or any issues that you're dealing with in your pub presently. Cheers.